Hello, welcome to FBCC, and I've been playing quite a lot of Crimson Chronicles lately. I grew up watching Flamingo, and so obviously the killer that stuck out to me is Cleetus, a persona of Flamingos. This version of him is all evil and fucked up though. Cleetus is a very fun killer, but he is also quite difficult. This video will be a sort of guide / explanation of Cleetus' abilities. Cleetus is the hardest killer in Crimson Chronicles, no doubt, but people mistake difficulty for him being the worst killer. I find that his kit is very powerful, but there's a few things that you need to watch out for, and we'll get into that later. First off, let's go over his kit since it's imperative to understanding him. Keep in mind, this video was made after the Tofu is Back in Town 2 Deluxe sequel. Dude, you can't even blame me for biffing this name, man. What the fuck is this update name? First, let's start with his passive. His passive gives him, upon being stunned, Swiftness 3 for 4 seconds, and ESP of all protagonists for 2.4 seconds. This part of his kit is often overlooked, and honestly feels underpowered a lot of the time, but is very useful if you can get close to someone after getting off a stun to get a quick flurry of hits that they can't really out-sprint. And it also makes supporting with stuns significantly less helpful, and ESP map knowledge is always useful. He also has a standard M1 with 20 damage and a 1.75 seconds cooldown. It is worth noting as well, in a recent patch they reduced his hitbox by 1 stud, so the hitbox is actually shorter than the Banjo swing, so you may have to be more precise when naming his hitbox since it relies more on the visual hitbox than on Cleetus' animation. Submerge is, I don't use it. Unless you burrow into the ground, which removes your tear radius, and you become much faster. When close to survivors, also stamina doesn't drain, which makes it useful for zoning where a survivor could be. Submerge is also very useful for traversing around the map quickly and catching up to survivors that are very far away, as well as having niche uses on certain maps. I mean, I wish I had something to say about Submerge, but like, the only time I really get value out of it is when I can't find a survivor, or if I'm on Louisiana and I need to navigate through the water. Huntin pulls out a gun. Fair way to start. During this, you cannot use any other abilities. During the animation of pulling out, you also can't be stunned and are slowed to nothing. The stun immunity ends once you pull it out fully, and after the animation is complete, you can walk and sprint and enter a mode where you have 3 bullets. Upon hitting a survivor, you damage them for 15 damage the first time you shoot them, as well as getting Swiftness 3 for 3 seconds, going down to Swiftness 2 and 5 damage each subsequent shot on the single protagonist, stacking up to 25 damage if all 3 shots are landed on a single protagonist. You can also shoot at other protagonists to spread out 15 damage to increase total damage spread across the team. It's also worth noting that when ending Huntin, you're stopped for a moment to withdraw the gun, and Swiftness 3 is given for 3 seconds after the animation ends if you can land a shot at least once. And finally, Unanchor / F3X. This ability allows Cleetus to throw an F3X box, which takes 3 seconds to wind up before being active. Once active, if a protagonist steps within 27 studs for 1.5 seconds, it will explode, dealing 15 damage and slowing the target by 6.5 for 5 seconds, as well as giving him an ESP on all players that he landed the hit on. This ability gives him extensive zoning potential, and without it, he would be a significantly worse killer. This ability allows you to push survivors into corners and deal damage if they get in range of it. This also gives him the ability to pull off a lot more plays than Granny and Tofu can, allowing him to zone survivors into areas and just pummel them while punishing them for making the smart plays. F3X allows you to heavily punish survivors for not adhering to your boundaries. Survivors also will avoid it a lot, which allows you to push them into you. You want to constantly be placing down your F3X to ensure that you have areas of the map locked off, preferably powerful loops or areas that are commonly run by. F3X is commonly best to place on corners where you have to turn around it towards the edge of a corner. This allows you to punish them for turning quarters and not zoning themselves into you. You can also place it at any looping spot you're struggling on to help you out there. Now, let's talk about the maps, because this game is currently a little map dependent, as the maps tend to have glaring issues or positives, and yeah, they just heavily vary. Let's start with the good maps and end with the bad maps. Keep in mind, this is all just my opinion. The first map is Baseplate. This map is such a strong map for every killer in the game, just based on the amount of killer-only doors, which gives you a chance to cut off survivors that have already made more distance than could normally be made just by cutting fully around. Though, obviously, if you're close, don't try and cut people off to waste distance, as this can easily be abused by any survivor that can turn their camera over the walls to get stamina back. This map is powerful just for the fact that half of the corners are insane F3X spots that are pretty darn consistent and hard to counter, as well as the ease in spotting survivors, which is something Cleetus can struggle with if players are hiding. Finally, this map is just smaller. This map isn't as big as the other ones, at least it doesn't feel that way? Maybe I'm nuts. A few good spots to place F3X on this map are on the corners of the middle area towards the inner edges. Make sure not to place it too far, as it can have not enough distance to trigger if they hit the corners really hard. This spot alone can carry a win easily with how much it makes looping on this map more difficult, and the fact that running the corners is pretty common, and if people are walking into your F3Xs and they're exploding when you're not in chase, you're still scoring easy damage, and that's what you want over time. Second map is Ruined Paradise. I would hope that Cleetus' token map would do him justice, and I'd say it does what it needs. The powerful middle area that connects the map is very easy to make extremely dangerous with a single well-placed F3X, and the other areas of the map also make his zoning capabilities shine extremely. Cornering a survivor and placing an F3X on top of them is just a lose-lose situation for them unless you biff hard. This map is also pretty difficult to hide on. Hiding in the water isn't an option with the large UI and slowness, and a lot of the houses, except for the main house, can tend to be death traps for F3X if you can place them correctly. A few good spots to place F3X on this map are in the very middle and at the stairs in the main house. Both of these spots cut off the best areas in the map to be and give insane map pressure, pushing everyone towards the middle and nearer to the water. One small thing to note is the simplicity of the pickup quest and speed of the stroller quest can allow teams to chip at the time pretty quickly if you're not constantly applying pressure. Land of Wind and Shade, other known as LoWAS. I think people are going to argue with me for not having this as the worst Cleetus map, but I have some things to say about Louisiana fundamentally that Land of Wind and Shade just doesn't struggle with nearly as bad. LoWAS is fundamentally a very open map. Everything loops to each other, and Cleetus prides himself on zoning, which is something this map is less than capable of. This map as well has many great looping areas that, if played correctly by protagonists, can easily be looped and chained for a long amount of time. The only real counter to looping is F3X and shooting as well. Getting a powerful chase start is also extremely important on this map, and shooting them only will take an immense amount of time and drains the timer faster than you can kill, which makes this map a struggle for some players. If you play correctly and place your F3X in spots that can zone out players, as well as just playing smart in general and targeting out people that need to first, it's not going to be that bad unless it's a fucking full test survivor lobby. You can usually manage to pull through. This map is a bit difficult, but it's possible. The same cannot be said for Louisiana. Ooh. You know, the first time I loaded into Louisiana, I felt whimsy and joy. Bro, the fuck is fucking pulling their fucking truck on my street, bro. Fucking assholes. The first time I loaded into Louisiana, I felt whimsy and joy. I love Louisiana! I grew up in New Orleans, so it has a special place in my heart. This whimsy was quickly shot dead the first time I played Killer on this map and watched people just sitting in the islands in the water. This map is fundamentally broken for survivors. It has a debuff for the Killer built into it that is easily abusable if you're smart. There's no decent corners to zone survivors in, except for a marginal few. It lacks any good areas to cut survivors off, and most of the map is open vision, as well as the noticeable lack of red doors compared to other maps. This map is genuinely a struggle, and I swear, every time I load in as Cleetus, I get this map. It's a curse, just over and over. I pray for a baseplate game and get sent to the deepest, darkest depths of Louisiana. This map needs some tweaks and is going to be getting some, but I'll still pick apart the sections of the map and discuss about it. First off, we'll start with the center, and fundamentally, I feel this is fine, honestly. I mean, no loops aren't present that aren't similar in maps like LoWAS, which I feel isn't that bad of a map. I'd say it's near balanced beside a few things like the line of sight and size. Overall, I'd say this middle section is fine. Even the elevation area is fine, I'd reckon. Second, the house area. This area is where the issues kind of start to arise. This fence is an insane area for chase starters and is very difficult to counter in a lot of scenarios. The verticality can make using your gun a gamble, as running up and down the plank can make shooting difficult unless you can read, as well as just providing them with a stamina advantage and a place to run around. A good way to counter the spot is to place an F3X just outside the grass. This allows you to zone them away from the water island section and towards areas that are much easier to run, and punishes them for not doing so with the hefty slowdown and damage. For changes I think could be made map-wise, I'd say maybe adding a killer-only plank on the other side of this wall to make it slightly less safe and a bit more balanced of a spot. Third is the wooded area, and this section of the map isn't as bad as the house area. Honestly, I'd say it's fine. If you place your F3X at either entrance in the middle of the walkways, you can usually make it to where if you go in it, the only way out is an F3X that you're forced to tank, making the spot very valuable for F3X to counter, which is otherwise a very good loop with good check spots and lines of sight. And finally, the water islands. This part of the map is fundamentally a little broken. It forces the killer into doing what the survivor wants with threats of slowdowns if you don't go over the planks. The one saving grace is that going into the ground with Submerge can bypass the slowness effect in the water, and placing F3X on the planks can punish survivors for using the area, as well as allow you to easily cut them off with Submerge, but even a good player can manage to buy time for timer. I will say that devs have already said that the corner island is getting nuked, and I did make some similar suggestions in this video and a forum post in the server, so who knows. Honestly, I just think the killer shouldn't be affected by the water, or survivors should be slowed down more than the killer. Balance-wise, it just allows survivors to abuse this so they can get a good chase start, or are playing Fior or Needles, which just thrive on this map. And that's gonna be it for this video. I hope you enjoyed this guide and map breakdown for Cleetus. I know this isn't my normal kind of video, but I hope you got some use out of this if you watched it to the end. Like, subscribe, and comment if you want a Fiora guide, because she's very fun and I'll do it.